you have to turn it off and on.
Okay, let's try it again. Testing, 1, 2, testing.
Yep, I can hear you.
Is it on? Test. Well, why did you turn it up in there? Well, how do you turn it up? Maybe this one's better.
Yep, if you want to use that one.
Let's try this one.
Okay.
Testing, testing. Testing, 1, 2. Okay, the sound system's not really picking up that well, so you're gonna have to hold the microphone close. But they'll try to get the volume turned up. Anyway, trying to start the meeting here, and hopefully can get it on soon so everybody can listen here. Meantime, I'll be singing a song before I start the prayer. So I'll sing a song at this time, and then I'll say a prayer to start the meeting. So again, I was welcoming all of you from my heart. Trate yo wasteta, trate wasteta yo na bet choose after I believe it just Omnichiye. It's just you can look toward the south. There's a Bigfoot in his picture up there. I'm gonna sing a song. I'm gonna sing. Have this meeting here, and we want to discuss a lot of things. So we want to keep things going as quickly as possible. There's a meal going to be provided, and I think there are tribal leaders might be here. I'm not too sure, but anyway, this is all from the tribal leaders, our chairman and Standing Rock's chairman and Ogala chairman. They're all working with the people, the descendants, to organize these meetings so that we can get some things done and get some consensus or something done for the relatives' belongings. So anyway, that's kind of where we're at right here. We want to have a good meeting and do what we can. I hope. Now we're going to sing a song for the Bigfoot song, and then I'll say a prayer to get started. There's a drum out in the middle, but I think that's the door prize. Heta Tatanka Iotaka, Kaoyatiki. Heta Manale Appointed Victemina Yamani, some Yamani. Heta Tekewicha from her. Tak we talk you when I bet to get younger. You can have to let us a watch ya. She let us a took there. We're home at the Yakov. You can there when I go home. I chat a latic when I take you over. Doctor, let us have what can I keep child. Doctor, let us all forgotten of human. Doctor, I chat let us all walk on each other. It's a lot better a heat of both. Hatia topo machveo timaka, yoko connect to each other. Among Cascan. That's a lot to go at China for a heat of both. That's a letter that we chosen it. That's a letter what talk we after. Twitter here, to each of you here. I took out the money. You can now how we chosen it, walk, long look. Oh, spend a walk, you know, walk. I talk with she talking up a heavy losing. No cash I had a walk on each of them. Chano Pon Sagel and just a chat. Walk a chat on each of that. That's the sound. I hate to have Kayo. That is a lot better watch it like to chunk to go. Talk was they tie nothing that the whole young girl. And talk chat and wait to get you now. You walk on your west. Chaku can I go after the talk you can Zani Ioni. I can Zani a Kihuni. So that better watch it chunk to go. I took their evolution or something walking to it. I wish I oh, we talk about it. Okay. Okay, Manny. Yeah.
Testing. Testing 1, 2. Namach umho. Aste. Oh, ja, mitaku ipi. Ja, ake hakini o atiki, ake komini chip. Nataku ja iota wakan woiha ja hana gluha. O hena cha akele ampetiki iwongla kapikte. Naha ja dokeli chumpiche. Hena iwongla kapikte le ampetiki. Ja ja tona ja hipi hena lila wopila kanka chichi hapi. Naha ja mani ja karapi. Na nachtje hoog upi. Ja Kahashi Justin Uke naachti. Na hi hunikte. Na ja waziata ija ja trakini o apkapi. Na ja hipi. Na toka gata hena ho ja hipi. Wota kuye. Hena hetes e hipi. Na ake ta komni. Taela unkinaji de hecha. Hecha kom shnehata. Wastektish. Ta hena ilukchampi ahani. Na toke lo chunkumpik de na ja wocheke ogna yanke. Na wocheke ogna nojipi. Apetu yohila hechate. Ja ake apetu luta elunglioni. Yoka ake hilila wopila tkanka kinichapi. Na ja wota kuya wakipkapi. Ja we talked pi hena washtesni. Hena wuchoya ki hena slolunki api. Dokishke hena ampiki. Hena apetuki hena wichunksi api. Na ja hieni uletke wa Yoka ja hena wexi. Unchiwaki wexi. Hena techiach. But ochikach api. Na ja ake ochike chela ogna nojipi. Hena echitu apetu. I want to welcome everybody today, with all our relatives in the Takini, Kioshpai. And today is another meeting where we discuss our sacred items that were returned. And I welcome everybody today. Echitu. This meeting is being recorded. So if you do not want to be recorded, let us know. We'll shut everything down. No, I'm just kidding. We'll just let the recording stop while you speak. So make sure you let us know. So today the agenda that I put together would be the guest speakers that are here that made the journey will speak first. And then afterwards, the local speakers will then speak, maybe after lunch. And then we're going to have kind of like a, what do you call it? Working lunch, washichia. Because our time, we like to stick to our time limit. And we wanted to thank the Lebeau administration for letting us come to the beautiful building here in the cultural center that we have. If you look around these pictures, each picture has its own story. And you could talk about that all day. But Gaketaha over there, that's that Chunkpet Ho'opi, Otoapi. So that always reminds us where we come from and who we are. And this is our cultural building. Students should be escorted here and told about these stories. Now, I don't know if that's happened. I didn't talk to Toshka Dave, but it should be open for this to do that. There's supposed to be a mic. This is it? Okay. How? Testing, why not? Oha. Ta'ea tono a ki leche chokata yang kapo Cedric, Hugh leche Johnson, leche yang kapo a Dokas, a lanam comedy chippy. A trokea a ka transhi. Steve, Hugh, Yota kapo. A trokea transhi Virgil. Eliawan, Telo Vogelaki. Eta Mr. Eagle, Hana Vogelakapi, Telo. Yeah.
Amita kebi tuke chata down the patches of the la e was like a mata hana chazemi kaki chata ohiti kai mata tiwahe mikaki hemaza tiwahe cha eta emata tiosh by mikaki ish tiosh by mikaki kamshi cha emata discuss this issue. So we were at all the 8 communities, plus the big meeting at Grand River Casino. So now we're going to get together and put our report together and our thoughts on what we experienced in our journey. There's a 2-week journey around Standing Rock. Well attended, well listened to, so I don't want to take up too much time, but this is who I am, so thank you for listening. I'll turn it over to Tashi John, Eagle Shield.
Oh, Tashi Prana. Amitake Meja. Apeteke was day chicha pelo na chante was in a bed cheese bako you. Chajemi Trajan Eagle Shield Senior Macha. Misa here was my coach in Najin one week or we took a matter.
there. Right here would be good.
Oh,
No,
yeah. So hetela ni okija uchi oyapiwa takini hetsa. Ho hetja wa ite wapi. Oiksela hel wokiksuja hena hetsa pelo. Na oitsa khatka he ikta tonaka ikta inaji na ha mitita ki o shuaka ka ikta wa iwahoni 1989 and 90 hakerte 92 ha wopila ichata ha shuaka ka hetki iblabla ha yukha ya mitaku ya pi ya owenki ikta washito kelera la kota keshita chako you are chako kasota takshi o kasota ki ha ogna ta como kochi ta I widi dog te kehet a tip ta shukas ata dokitike o koko kha miniagala hetaha napkhab shakba hanakta mitita ke hetaha napkhab waji Moses Obu job na khaitu ki ha miss swift cloud na ha Moses Obu askuka na huku ira ja tajate ki ha so I chawashi o mokia kapshin as and that topapi na ha ani ha kikta we sukaka that ha he ira zapta hechi up we talked uti napkhe le hata gas na maza khak at pakhaut khabnaha dag nach okips tokis ke na khana khabia kaki mak bakba ma hi yank takhti ha nupake op na pekila na hanita el lakshimi kha earnest iron as la hana el ocean as Lakota that wak nupa opi job kha ho heta cha inamit kha khokap kha mitrit ko ki ha chajat wak nupa opi job na ha isomya ke no ko mitrit ko wa el hish as ija chajat wak chakpa opi job ho heta khde inamit kha ki heta wa etuna ki ija ki gala أوانك كتالي لها تيك تيك ألبناها قامناها اختلانا ونختلا ليلا أوتا هتشي بيتشاكتو as unti ogla kokis bayut khatha ogna italaha oglakesa mitak ya pi ahani wani totola ka lila ota optia as ana kiksuya o kumpelo o ina latchtiha o Jakob kha that wana waki khab tiapaktab han wiki han o Jakob kha khakalos nina khtat tsanat o holigos tamna han o kali zo Jakob tsanat mama het o Jakob kha o ti ogda ko kis nas wa yut khatha ogna tak waki khabana o galakas kha ho o ti wa yut khatha chata hitala o wogda ko ki na het echt o galak tsanet na iksta istamani hu hakik we hakini heta cha gali na la wat iron he ataya na user heta yam ni lakhti chat John Iron, Helen Iron, and Louise Iron. Louise Iron, let's see. Tashima Moses Birdnicus out. Gosh, oh, head chechti ha. Is a let's Michita Kia up. Hetaha Otakuya, Bitabla. Tahena Hetachti ha, Mama, it's Nana, Ichachuyam. Yo Diekia, Usha, Okichakam. Talaha, Okaitela, Wash. Dokis Gichachma, Sawalo. As Uji. Waar u het gaat gaan, daar ook dat ik het ha. Lekker te gaan, along chat dan. Wogen dat ook kies, net zo wogen dat ik wat kijk te lo. Ja, along ja we nacht je mat het. Als ook gaan we tjasja hemata. Tjat ook tel waar hier tennis na along eigenlijk ha omani alo. Maar Lakota piki o techike help tennis na lila oik te chat na ha lila yukte mak help. Olon ota was desta kachdigab na ahiap. Ona hena gluha ook up kielak long kutapi. Ta letechti olon wa uti wogelaka wa kikti. Yes, niet gaat. Tiapak da elbe massacre. Tank bij opi wakba. Maar het nach ma wakbaye. Koha mi titaku yapi. Oshishika chakos stop. Hakik dan we. Waar je het gaat ogelaka na is. Istameni hiu. Kita laka homa wastes ni. Organized na homa rita na matret ha elgna dansela walomot ha. Has gaan etke ata otrechke alo. Mizat ata hoyaza za imagagala. Na Nee ook upikele algenas naha oi gaat ik Lakota twaka twata obok ub he onis nee ook odepelo dokter was hier twala Lakota en jomok pira ha dat tima wahina ta ook sekreat en hat ite wa at was des wa otkaya naha it said oyakatam how was delo Tini Lakota bezo only here kulha upo as uti there although it chat ha wogla kikte tena naya khu pikte and that wounded knee crick I laid hidden all the while they were wiping out my family my people hey ha she won't keep was a tragedy. And it was sad tragedy. Hakikta when he looks back, woman. In sign language, she told the tragedy and all that came out was tears, no voice of crying. She couldn't laugh. She would just smile, show her expression of happiness, and show her expression of sadness, of tears. And she lived like that. Imagine, nowadays we can all talk, communicate language. Lakoli organisa, washiti organi, wogula kabna, chanta yokshita bhanta. He won't go like up naha. Okbak people naha. Okot hadaka oki abo koki pelo. Asho jia okish. Ogana Yokshitana Waki Prabe Ogalako Kish, which Hoy Ogana. As year Watkish. Many were can't do any about Naku Taniki. Do any hatches. Lela o ach wala ke ho pitja. Mi niagala lala kti una. Yamani lakaha ichach wichab. Uti Louise Iron. Bird necklace. Naha Helen Crossbeard White Shoe. Iron. And Asia Hetaha. Utima. Utiwa Hetaha. Hakikta we die you. Naha lala. La one year to Donaka Halala Ktiwa. The Takoka. A taco lila of Spamakaka. Is a chanter omni dunya kitchenas. TL. The one tennis na. I the Macau at the watch. Hey, teeth hook of head. Daggy was that orange. There, although Keha, Tiki ha York, then Ami Vistakeha, Kayu, Adilach, Kayus, the Snias. That's the ha. Uti, although what ha, Kitty, although you are in her hand. Noch mal wach bei ko ha me te ta ko ye be ho se ka wei ta ka so ta be hey hey ha se ta o ka ke pa pe hey ha ke ta we va yo tra tra o la ke la hey stam le hey Optala la kaha, augla oap hechata, lela, iwa blue la kawa ocean as a toklawaki tunnels na la kolwa na he o jala itachma, hetrokerti nach, hetrechti ha, wagla kenaha, pilacha pila donakaha, yahibnaha, augna hela, wo you hapina. Tita ko yana tkhapichat ognash na na ko that taija oti apina la la chaya pina ogna hena tkhap sa hena hakta ko kichpi ke was takta pilat chapina ita ko
I'd like to remind speakers that what are your decisions or your thoughts on regarding these sacred items that we have? If you would share those with us so we can get it recorded and documented. And Brian just told a very sad story about our ancestors again. All of our stories are like that. And we have to remember those because it hits our heart and it stays there. And we do the best we can. Like today, what are we going to do? What is our thoughts on these sacred items that are back? And there's going to be more coming back. So this isn't the only time the Takini Oyate is going to meet. There's going to be more meetings about these items. And I'm waiting for Justin to show up. I understand he made a trip, and I'm anxious to see and hear his report. Cedric, let your Omnichiye, because the recording isn't picking it up out there, so we asked the speakers to come up here.
Ampete washte, nish hihani washte, nish ampotho washte apelo. Well, let's do ya chikala echo hinojina ya. Ahoat khalo. I am little warrior, but originally baptismal name that we all have, the citizen name that we all were given under the membership to be a United States member, right? We can't deny that because we all come from a reservation. We all live. So my name is Cedric Broken Nose. I'm coming from Oglala, South Dakota, where I grew up in a lakeside community called Black Horse Community. And from there, from my mother's side, you know I would chat from my mother's side, maternal, they came from here, from Bridger, and they made their way down, and that's how they were murdered down there. And from my great-grandfather, James Pipeonhead, he was only 10 years old. Some say he was 12, but back then, there was no recordings of birth dates. Some say it is, but some say, there's no recordings of documentation when they were born. They were born as a winter count. So he was 10 or 12 years old when he survived. He ran away from that battle, or they call it battle there, but it's not a battle. It's a day of murder, execution for our grandfathers, great-grandfathers. Ampetu el kichiwogla kina ha isaki katia cha he wayanke ishtan cha ampetu le ha hecho ki hana ho nasula unshicha pela he. We were traumatized because of that. The day our grandfathers, great-grandfathers seen, the survivors seen the day of execution. And from there on, today, we still have those memories within us. We all have stories to tell. We all have our grandmothers who told us the stories. That's where I was coming from. My mother, and then my grandmother, her name is Flossie Pipeonhead. That's James Pipeonhead's daughter, but he has a few daughters and a son. But I come from her. And with that, the lineal descent from coming down. It's my grandfather, great-grandfather's story that was told to me, and by my grandmother, because she raised me. And during the time of annual, during the time of the December 29th, that's when she will mourn. she'll mourn for her grandfather. So that's the stories that I have and my uncle. And there's a few Oglalas that came. But with Oglala, when we say we're Oglala, they're trying to push us, divide us, a division, but that's not right. Only the United States government divide people. That's how we are today. We're on reservations, and then we're all against each other to see who's better. See who's the better descendant, seem like we're all playing basketball or something, to see who's the winner, who's the champion. But that's not right. We're all descendants. And we all have our opinions today. And the subject that we need to go to, and we always skirt the issue, seem like. We always skirt the issue and hide behind. We tend to go around the bush, they call that. And today we only have 4 hours. That means we only have certain time. So as we talk about this, we need to talk about the items. These are our ancestors' belongings, our ancestors' clothing, what we're talking about, our ancestors' pipes. There's 17 pipes there. There's a bow and arrow with the bow, and there is a tomahawk. So that's what we're talking about today. That's the reason why we're here today. And what are we going to do? What are we going to do? How are we going to do this? It seemed like they gave us an opportunity to talk about our grandfather, or great-grandfather, and great-great-grandfather stuff, and here we can't. We can't seem to make a decision. Instead, we were arguing about things. Just like the gentleman, he was talking about the trauma. The gentleman that was just not talking, he talked about the trauma of the story, and then it still affects him. That's the way it is for us. I'm an advocate for my grandfathers and grandmothers who's laying up there. I advocate for what's right for them. I'm advocating and fighting for them, because these are their items. These are their belongings. So when we come up here, kind of talk about that, of the items, what do you want to do? Because we all have opinions. That's just your opinion. That's what I was told. So, okay. So what my opinions I'm going to be voicing out. And I'm a voice for my grandfathers and great-grandmothers and grandfathers who are laying up there. I'm an advocate for them. Because I was the one who had the opportunity, and statements of, I had a blessing. It was a blessing. It was a blessing that I was chosen to bring these items back from Massachusetts. So that was a blessing. Wopila ichijab. Wopila ipche. Mayakach nira pechahina awagadina chichagadi pelo. Those are some blessings for me as a trip made from Massachusetts. I made a trip by myself. And I prayed. And I prayed every day. For 2.5 days I was coming back, I prayed. So with this, the items, we need to give them back. I'm probably the only one out of, there's about 20 of you sitting here on one stating, we need to give it back. We need to give these items back. You can't have a stick to hold. You hekta no unjipin, you have no unjipin, lakun a dokhoki. Unki bishnit ha, what can Jalayat Hokata Hana Echa is Shichokte, Ho hena echa le ampetu kile wa hinojina wichalish hiya epre. Lena hunka ki han tra bichala trash lena wichoki chukte. Ne ishtikte ke you hekta nayajni pe yutra ish iwala kona yechel akunya garab yakib. Maybe you can take a picture of these items and maybe do a replica, actual replica of these items. So you'll say, hey, these are from 1890, exactly like that. But it's not the actual one, but it was that. So in the future, 200 years from here, the children will see that and say, hey, this is what it would look like. But it's not that, but it looks like that. That's the replica. You look around here, all these items sitting here, all these items, those are all like that. They're not the exact ones from it, but they're made by a grandfather or a grandmother who knows how to make those. Porcupine quill, beading. You know, if you see all those are replicas. Someone made it 20 years ago or 50 years ago. So you can do that. Ho yeche ne gaga na ho na keshe ya bazuk daiche ho ne pelo. Ho ash trosh. Wo ha kidena hunka ki git ha ki trapelo. Cho ya bi chonki chukte meheshms enawaji. En Bethlehem. Ho cha to ha no we cho ye shiche da ahuma yakte na cheche. Ho ashe na to khashn. He uji wa ki he. Thanka ke ta wa ini chabash ho. An chagab tayo he. So whoever is 85 years old here, I consider you my lekshi, my aunt, tchui, uncle. If you're under 20, they're 85, you're like a cousin, like that, or like that. Because of the age, you know, that's the kinship way. So I have a lot of cousins here, or Cheyenne, Manny and I, maybe won't see things eye to eye at times, but yeah, we still consider each other brother, because my father made him a son. When my older brother died, he said, hey, Cheyenne, yeah, Lord. So sometimes we don't see eye to eye, but still we see each other as that. It's just not the same thinking. You know, thank you for being here. I'm also the spokesperson for our descendancy group at home. And at home seemed like the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. There's a lot of groups with this. This is our group, Sitranka Trakini group from Uglala, and then Wendell, Horncloud, Bylance, their group, and then in Manderson area, there are those Hollowhorn. So, Wakpa Yohla, Nisho, Opha Yohla, Wotakwe, Trakini, you come, Ichagam, Yecha. So, just past couple, maybe a week ago, has asked everyone to get together now. Get together. Because every district, we call it districts down there, has a descendant. With that descendancy, you know, get together. But when we have a meeting down here, they come to our meeting in Oglala. You know, and there's 30 families there in Oglala, 30 plus families. Tiwahe, that's who we're getting together. And so far, we got 20 people that could come to our meeting. That those 20 are families from that. So we have names, and those names are Lakota names as well. So as a spokesperson from Uglala, Uyanke, I'm here. And I didn't come to some of these meetings over here because that's what I was thinking too. This is your guys' meeting, that's what you guys need to do. That's what I was thinking, But I didn't make it, and then they said, oh, you didn't make it. That's why I said, Rick, you didn't make these meetings. I didn't know I was supposed to be here, I said. But now I'm here today. And we have one more meeting to go to, and that's in February 24th. Either it's in Pine Ridge or in Rapid City, either one. But that will be held by the fifth member, Justin Puyer, and the president of the tribal president will take care of that so they can pay for the stuff, They could pay for the meal, the room, however. So with that, I didn't see the agenda here today, so I don't know what the agenda is, but what you do.
24th would be a good time to have a meeting, but maybe everybody that has a person that they go to a medicine man, they will party and go to a ceremony and bring what they found out from that medicine man over there. Those are some of the strategies we need to work on.
Yeah. Washte. Week Joshte Gagala. Chaya Hetchetula, Donna Wakawicha, Ochalu Hanish, Soluicha Abana, Obagovichak on Hanish, Hochakoje Gavana, Echata Dakucha, Hole, Yagulushtong Daji. Hineshi Pre. I just said that we cannot seem to make a decision, but yet we want to take that responsibility to give it to an altar from that and bring it, So those are the things I was talking about. So that's where the division and the confusion is. What do you think? What do you think? Because somewhere if it doesn't happen right, then we'll blame the, what do you call it, the holy man, right? We'll blame the person who, hey, Lord, that's how he said that, So we'll blame that person. It's best to come from you, how you want. Well, still menu.
Request. Maybe you could have somebody always pray with those sacred belongings.
Yeah.
While they're there.
Yeah.
They're going to be moving around and causing chaos.
Yeah.
Constantly pray with them.
Yeah. At least once a month we were going there, even though we can't pull them out outside of the building where we're there praying. Because the workers there, they said, Cedric, you need to do something with these items because they're always moving around, making it's kind of screwing our workers out. Those are spirits. I said, that's why I pray. There's a reason why a person is being paid to take care of those there. But because of they're not praying and putting the sacred foods out, what we do pray there outside of that building. Some won't like that. Some Lilo Yata Otab. I have a Wopila.
Cedric brought out some things we need to address. I don't know, what do you call him, medicine man or whatever, one of them called me about the items, and I'm going to share that with you because you're all Takini here. And he called me and he said, those woiha, those items are sacred. And then he said, Hena tuktani museum bazo hinkdishni. We are not to show them, put them in the museum again, to show them. Those are our stuff. Those are maybe our DNA is on them. With the takini oyate, takini. So I said, how? So those are the things that I've been talking about. We need help, we get help through prayers. Cedric said maybe we make replicas. I think maybe we should, because like he said, our children and grandchildren are still coming. What are they going to look at? It's that education side that we need. This is what happened to the Takini Oyate. They need to know. Let's teach history in the medicine way by telling the truth, because all of us are part of that, Takini. So I always advocated reparations. And in the past, those failed. We need to erect our memorial sites, but we need money to do that. And I forgot to ask Cedric. Some of the elders in Cherry Creek said that memorial site, the monument was changed. Hechidua. They said that was different, what they remember. So I said, Toksha, I'll ask Cedric or Wendell, and then Toko Mechi. Otoa you happy. So they took that old monument out and they put a new, different one in there. And the elders at Cherry Creek remember that, and they even have a picture of it. So those are the ones we need. So anyway, as far as reparations, I advocated for that because our ancestors lost everything. Whole families were destroyed. And with this reparations, we can fix all our monuments. But most importantly, we need to ask for some land in the Chesapa and build our healing centers there. All of us need healing. Today, when we hear our stories, we're back there. I experienced that. My mom used to talk about it. When I was growing up, my father and my mom would talk about this story. Atayuha Wichaktipi. All these people got killed, and it wasn't until later that I found out it was Wounded Knee. So those memories stick with us, and we need help to pass through our traumas. And we need to build scholarships for our descendants more than ever, because we need their help too. We need to include our young children and our young descendants. They're much more versed in technology than we are, at least I am. I have to ask my daughter, well, how do you do this? But they grew up with it. That's what we need. So that is my decision that I made. We need to do that. So we gave a letter to Chairman LeBeau, and I think I have that letter here for our tribal attorney to initiate that process. But I haven't heard anything yet. So, So, any other guests here that want to speak? Oh. And then we're going to go to our local elders to speak.
Let me add, Virgil, taken alive. KIPI radio, I asked a question 2 weeks ago. Who was the medicine man that had the ceremony December 29th? Who's the medicine man that spoke to you? Presuta wichasha ish, wapia wichasha heta ish, uipi wichasha heta he. Hetu eho, hena sowai wachi. So, do I hea hantenes a tank the heta lo? Heta, I could have no dapple like that. Koskala ete he. Chicago yate taha. O he tueki he waisi his holy horse. He uia solea pedo. Techa na la colia. But now it's the second time I haven't heard who this person is that's giving this direction. And I would like to know, because we've been discussing this, and that's why I asked my Missouri to come back up here again. He had a wonderful thought about what we can do with the belongings. So that's why I asked to come up, talk about the belongings. So Mr. Brian Swiftcloud, the leader, he really had a good idea.
On my time limit? Yeah, you know, talked about this, and you know, our relatives fled from up north, and then from down here, we met up with Hakashla, Haka Galashkai, Job Kelp, or Hadahacha. Wahina Chekakakis, Samaka, Itoka Laphab. And it's the probability of these belongings, about 80% belong to Oti and Alala. The other 10%, we weren't there. We can't say, hey, you walk out. I put the that's it, go keep. Now, the other 10%, we're gonna hatch up each other. You know, because of the massacre happened on Pine Ridge, you think that it happened to their people. Okay, so it was misdirected. If it would happen up there, the Oglalas took off and they were slaughtered up there, Standing Rock. But they asked me, I would say, well, that belongs to the Oglala, take it back to them. It belongs to their people, their blood, like Manny said, there's DNA on them, some of them. So, that Hapikchako Hetigala that Dagri, you have Daka Bichella Hena, you have Achbab, Bichaki Benaha, Dokitika, Doka Kegalo, Ela Jahak. As them, I had an idea because people from up north said this way and then from down here. That pictures of and all of the descendants of those on one side over here could be Standing Rock. put those belongings in the scaffold, like what are these pictures? Oh, kakia. They used to put them up there like that. Let's give them a proper burial because our relative down at Pine Ridge, they never even do any awachikishin. No, they didn't even pray over it. The days before that, they celebrate what? The birth of Jesus Christ. Peace on earth. There was no peace on earth that day for our relatives. Let's, if we want to do something, let's do it like that. Wagakia, way in the corner there. Champas left them, I have to elbow. Make a big old thing like that. No one can't scale it, no one can't climb it. Put them belongings up there, make it look like a buffalo robe over it, seal it up. That'd be a proper burial for our relatives. You know, because we want to think, not think colonized where, oh, Lakota, that's the proper ceremony, old traditional way of burial. Lahan washitra lila el o galptata. Duat ehata. Makashinakia elpalo. Get covered up with dirt. Use that dirt as a shina, a buffalo. Makashinakia elpalo. So that was my idea, you know, and we can work together. Standing Rock Sioux tribe, I have a cousin, Richard Longford, a consummate lard. My Misukala Frank Jemerson, he's a vice president of, he's a vice chairman of Standing Rock Sioux tribe, and I'll talk to them, work with the people down here. You should always come to those who are directly descendants of those that were part of that massacre. One out of six survived. She survived with 2 wounds by her wrist and her hip. She made it into the creek. Will laying with her baby. Hukukia Khazi El open Hanat Asla Oipa Minihi Yuha. No, I heard that children were taught not to cry. Yeah. But then his baby would start to get cold and low cheek. Hukuki wana tschaki ha tasag azioki. Chanape na hu achtona ha hu sanila hetahi napkhani ik paslo ikta ina ha. Ta hukshila ha. Wakbom has used law and Akha Okhashma, I take a lakbom. They covered themselves up with tumbleweed. How she kept that little baby from not crying and being hungry? Why ta itunaha? E oganakana, skaya. Or etaha e mahaz mal okashna kia. Made that mouth, just know in her mouth. Let that water drip into the baby's mouth. Didn't have no milk. My grandma was only 12 years old. Imagine someone that old if that happened. I look at my grandkids and I don't know what I had gone to be able to feel to see my little brother and my grandma killed right before my eyes. They did do nothing wrong. So the chaka was he to get over chaka so doctor. Dako had to pick up or he will upset or kitchis over. At walking by you have Lakota one those that didn't abide by that treaty, stay on the reservation, they considered hostile. And if you didn't abide by their laws, Tell a little bit more. Moses Obu, he was a loyal follower to Sitting Bull from the time of the Battle of the Bighorn to exile to Canada, coming back from Canada, being in a prison camp. Fort Buford, I think it was. Oh, hell, I thought they were all prisoners of war. They were Kashka Ichaganaka. Manita Donna Kahelia Kabanaha, Wakpa, Gala Hetchi, Gala Cheap to Hetchi, Kikalab. And Taha, Kakashi, the Ktebha, Hetaha, Samia Kalechki, Chief Kakashi, the Kteb to Heha, Dway, Oitcha Eliakesh. Oitcha Tola, Nahata, was a Khata Uthapsa, Napkap, Wahin, the Chata. Taku Itala Ubenaya Gulaha, Napkap. Shogaya Gluzub. Let's get up Hamha Nachma. Wapha Ugana. Ampatalas Nachman. Look at the Preto Ileo Gibbs. We're going to treat the Galapachet. When I got Oikpozata, Aka, Manhi up. Little Ota, Shwaka Gobson, Makamani. Naha Big Doctor, me at the Pachapa, many top Homan is a letter. I'm wearing buttons. But we're very nice, more clothes nowadays. But you think back about what they went through at that time. I think about Grandma. She lost her little brother. We don't know his name. He lost her mom, Miss Swiftcloud. Her dad, Moses Obu. And Moses Obu's parents, I don't know their names, but they, all five of them, were thrown in that mass grave down there. Wajilachniha, Hakini, Oikchalakaha, Gadi, Kitak, Mwanito. But that was my idea about the proper burial. They tried to, they just threw him in a mass grave and forgot about it. No, they didn't even come over. Minister, priest, nobody. They didn't even pray proper burial of our relatives. So let's give them a proper burial. There'll be a memorial for all of our grandkids. And hopefully this stories like this will be taught in school to each of you.
I just want to remind you what we did at Standing Rock at Grand River Casino. There's going to be dissension. You know, there's going to be varying opinions. But when I go to a treaty council meeting, all I hear is arguments. It's all I hear, and nothing's done. So the younger ones have been saying, when are you going to do something, especially about this? So let's have this discussion. There's going to be dissension, but let's not create division. So we can come together and make the best decision that we can. Now, that's what. Let your uo. Right here. All right. Which one's the KIPI mic? This one? Oh, okay.
Close your radio and close your TV. Hello. Hello. Letoshke. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Hallo.
Ja,
Guitar you go.
Right here?
It worked, yeah.
Turn it on.
Testing, testing.
Yeah, this one goes here. And
Oh.
Put this one this way. They can pick you up on the radio.
Nishnuk. Hiani washte you ha chit yap in the chante washte you ha na pet shoes up. Lemish ama Lakota, Oglalata hawa u. Nahale wagalakigale, takwi wagalaking to me tea takwe akile taham. Sarah drops to a job, atkukuki nupa yushna job. Naha, he hunkukish good woman a job to he. When did ni massacre hell ish ankteb. Naha sunkakulan pictors a job, shunkpahi job, to henunko hell kat yab. To henna se khbam naha. Inawaki Bernie sits for a job. Na atewaki Gus Chase in sight a job. Chale inawagle atkukuki Frank sits for a job. Chahe standing rock at tahana. Unchiwaki he Sarah drops to head letaha. Huchtakunyam na chete. Ish soyab heche. Dauphine buffalo, clay white buffalo in a true white buffalo in a Marianne red horse, nice mercy redfish. Haniyu hatakuitrium. Na Taylor Bolligal na Dave Bolligal hena taku kiel takuitrium cha. Le taunkish unkub mitramam ki ahani wichinchalachik alaha lechi chareash in oglala to move ya pecha mukrocha you hapcha. To Little Grass Creek a chapel el iska move ya. Na heta oglala to tip to letaha ub. To tita koglila leta otap. To tohan lechewa transhnami tita kog ichogni. To gunana na koglina huchtaku chamna chete. To iska. Le mitra grandpa ki heisha. Massacre gi hapu ha. Eta 9 years old ha napre. Naprina ianke. Ianke na ata nihinchata. Opra ogna iak yankra iska. Wion tra oke. Khpake na chake cha iska yural unke ash ata wehu na babylon bebetik alala ish a chake ash ata apsichini yak yake ata hechelo pra yankina to ha yanko ki ha yankina na oikpas ake inkha ha le la yuhona enagali khpake khatoshke tagwankes lechon pteo wankake cha yuk chankahina Khpahan kena ayuta na mana oikpas in a lilo sini ake. Ata tkhezi yu khletina tkhamaha tkhashipanana ata yu slutinek tamaheli inkake. Cha hiani lakhje ali la yu hochi shtimake. Iska tokid mahel okhate. Watohan Twitter choikpahi jonkha wiki jaja hingalake ganagana okohena cha heta. Ata ikpas lutina hinamkhake. Ata wetita na Twitter ni ashni iankina letan tita kwa o atakchiake. China oichak yakake utkiti takwe yuha hecho wichakte pon ake. Chaheta hena tita kwa glecha obgali chalecha ichare. Chahecha standing rock to yuhapi ash lecha chichachab. Chahetama wa chane Genevieve Chase site the macha. Mawashitu chargeki ribich in mucha. Chahetan wa Sunkakula wajibulu hash hit Hesh Joseph Gero chabletaha. He George Gero at Kuku. Chahe mitra brother. Na mitra atki Sophie and Cecilia sits por a chakyap. Chena letaha ish a charab. Chahe in Sophic in rapid taco artillery in factory il work in hetant etcha. He mitra brother he mitra cousin ash inana atui chawaki ichachab. Anyway, he introduction part ki niska. You halen na chich unnakab na hale takuya wo you ha iska hoch akini joktechke. Ash hetchet tu alakishni. Lena unshakelt ab unshaka wik papsum. unshaka tweetat ab, ungana lo chimna church ab. Na hena taku unchpaya hena we chakib, how we chakib. Tanish ani twa kat ieni on hani chiuki, chanteni shitting, tachulan nukinkte. Na hena hechos o uchakicham. Out of respect, nukiuktana, ichunktana, hena trap, henuki trapshni, wajini, twenty trapshni. As museum ektaloktichte, washitus e chanoktichte. As mehechetu alashni, he kakana ha uchiwa hilchbatcher, mish awachiot and nojiwa here na, oh hemitragram, and a hemitragram point, hena traum, prinkte, he. Takuya. Egana kana le Marcusins na ghost shirt na hena mitra grandpa kitra hena mitra hena machi opkinkta hetchetushni hena trab hena unshakelt up to hena trab as takwe hoch action jakatchele chahechetu na kishna hep kakon he doha hena we chak chupshni he ha twa ituna agle hanta na yuha hanta hel tralai ponji ituna yuhakte Dwa hena akshijanta lel we chat our el yank to e. Chahechel ables, a hechel di chachmam. Do hanta ki wama krajan hechos emitra uchinan walawa ki wa unspemon kyab. Dwa te hanta takotra hanta you ha chugnachab. Talel Frank sits por lala mitra kit ha 5-bedroom story house wa we chak. We chak una ta tak trapu hena you how we chak una. Tag ena ayushtapu hena tilab. Ta 20 tagan you hashni. You hagaluhia. Ta lehan lechus abeles. Lehan we choi chakik hetashni. Lehan we choi chakik you ha wohak dichtje. Taku gash you hak dichtje. He greedy ab. Na me hechel wakal walakishni. Hena mititako. Tamish I have every right to say something. Hena ungana trap sitje. Lala wena uchiwaki. Ungana hena trap sitje hoch action joktichti. Chahetche tushni. Chayesh chanwash naka iu ha unkaistane chuganach uyongoste. Lila na ritruna cheo na oekchab. Hena weki hoch ikrak en hoch bebelagish na ikrak weki. Tahena yuha kichim, tahena trab, no ki trabshni. Tah I lukjana hena we chak chugoste. Hechos maybe I belukjan, doshkenia we lukjan kachele. Ashle when I'm 71 years old, tahechik chitank obelize. Uchina, inana atehena ichach mayana. Hogana obelize, na obeles mukiana. Wo you hagana not daganishni. Hena, thin Eric, the yankte, 200 ehanta. Makama het kigenikte. Ich kachwo genkte, ich tuktel iana ilekte. Tahechus hena taganish nishkrata hoch oe nichos chosekona action jona luhak dichte. Luhab hanta nietzsche takun shita akiprakte. Na hechus abel is it chon nila oho we chala we chat eki. Hena na muanaria tagaluhak tashkra. Guluhabschnitte, unshaka cheana. Long each ilon on a lila kakijab. Apeashiniashni kakijab, hena trab. Hena unshaka helt achbayan we chakipte. Hogana lila yomakshite no wachake. Wachake, lewa ukto ha, takuku nacho. Na, taku nacho chala yomakfishniash tuksha chak in a taku echel yankte. Schlenuku takuku hoch troga ablezopske. Na hoch wion popske. Takuku oglala glitchu na kakalechumske ab. As you ha takunk chops. Hechumi taku oas in ab. No, ta oate gleniu hu yankoglena kakya pioneer rose by heniu ha takunk chop. Ta na ablezok don hecha. Was you no trok chopsen. Unkoglena hetaha. Alla kena heto takun, henta unkub. Tahena ni umhata eganagana unkota crash. Hena we chaked it. Tatona I trashed them. Heta tahena unkub. Tahelila I womaita. Dawa uke le Frank sits por ta ugale. Tale Frank sits por le Wounded Knee Massacre book el documentary statement giyanke. Tra pictures na uchi tra picture krobuluha. Na family tree out to he krobuluha. Birth certificate out to buluha, Ash dukteta homa uki sawat me. No tuatak wit shawag na mititak wig. Tale na kagna na huchtak ucham na chichet. Na hachti 20 soyeshni. Chaya ta wog anametich man ta wagalake. Ash I lelwaji I takwa I inked chale I uashi le najinglel el uktacha. Shirley? Did you want to come up? No, okay. So anyway, lewaji individual concerned the hashke chahe. Duksha later on kchuangla kaktash. Lila tawa chianko na tawa hi na Ivan ish ashne ganagana balaki na many meetings we have chashna yushke monki chianka. Hechos monki chianka kashka. No in chasha gish awa nape use on a wingish. Ali latan unkte. Chaletan trokatna respect on kitchu hana down kitchen kon yushke on kitchen kokt. Ale Trump hiota ke Lakota we chaita benin station gas kecha. Le new ongele on kitchen unkton hecha. Cha hechel epre. No do what da questions lo hab hechi. Oh, you want to come? Okay. Chale is waji uglala tahe ish ahicha ish awogala pinkte. Ash pilama onamitich ogle.
Can you all hear me? Okay, the chela la flowing the cha. Chantea washte na be chiuzapi na ha ogana hu ake. Takus wotaku yeseche. Ash, I'm going to talk our English language because I know some of us don't understand or lost our language. So I'm going to briefly talk about my my family. And thank you for listening to us, the ones that come from Oglala. And I wanted to make clear that there is a lot of family down there that are forgotten. We are forgotten because when our families came back up here after Wounded Knee, the massacre, the people up here were scared of the government, what the government was going to do to them. They shunned our people. And that needs to be clarified. Because today I'm going to share a brief story about my grandmother. And she talks about Wokwoju. And this is Wokwoju, right? Cheyenne Eagle Butte? Okay, well that's what she talks about. And a lot of times we go unheard. And we have spokesperson. We have Cedric. We have Mike. We have a spiritual leader, Richard. And we designate these people to come on our behalf from the Oglala Oyate because we can't be traveling. But today, I made an effort to be here. I wanted to share my family's testimony. I wanted to share that things are real. And I want you guys to understand that there's more things that need to be accomplished besides these artifacts. And these artifacts don't belong to me, they don't belong to you, but they belong to our ancestors. And they are Navitoin, they want to go home, they want to be set free. How many of you want to be stuck behind a glass for hundreds and hundreds of years? And our ancestors, they want to be set free. They don't want to be here. They want to go home. And so keep that in mind. And I've been listening. When you guys had this meeting up north, I've been listening. But nobody didn't want to talk about the artifacts. Instead, I hear everybody, Igolani Haing. I do this, I'm this person. Nobody didn't want to man up. Nobody want to talk. And so today, you know, I want to explain things. I want to be heard. I want to be heard. I want to hear my story. And we say that, oh, everybody was killed in Wounded Knee. There was no survivors, or whichever ones, they came back. No, there were some of us, families up there, down there. And there's a lot more than what is here today. And I'll tell you what, they have their stories. They have their family trees. And they have their pictures. But we don't share it. We don't tell our stories. Because people take our stories and they run with it. They make it as their own.
Yep.
And they make money off of it. They profit money off of it. And that needs to stop. Because you know what? We all hurt. We all went through a generational trauma. And that's what we're doing right now. Every one of us is affected by generational trauma because something happened down in Wounded Knee. The massacre happened. We weren't supposed to talk about it because the government was going to come and get us. So those things you guys got to think about. And there's more things that we can do instead of fighting over some artifacts. Let's have respect and give them the due process. And let's burn them. That's our way of life. That's how we are, Lakota. That's our culture. That's our tradition. It reminds me of, you want to keep them, you want to fight over them. You know that little cartoon show about, you know, Aladdin, remember where that genie was kept in that little bottle for years and years, and they make him jump high, go do this, give me 3 wishes. You know, that's how maybe our ancestors feel. You have to think about it. Put yourselves in their shoes. They suffered long enough. Their blood shed. And I was going to I'm going to share a story with you guys a little bit briefly, and I'm not going to tell the whole thing because, like I said, people take your story and they run with it. They make money off of it. So I wanted to share it briefly about what happened to my grandparents. So my grandparents, they were from here. And when they were moving, going down to Wounded Knee, they wanted to go with them. They left with them. They left with them. And my great-grandpa, his name was Hairpipe. And his wife was named Hawk Woman. And they had a son named Cottonwood. And they had my great-grandmother, her war bonnet. Her English name became Julie. And they went down there. And as they were going down there, you know, people, we tend to be all over with our relatives. And as they were going, people were trailing off. And they were going to trail off too. But my great-great-grandpa, Hairpipe, said, no, let's go to Pine Ridge with them. And little that they know that that was their fateful day, that something was going to happen to them. And as they sat there in encampment, and when they started taking the men and the weapons, when they start taking them, my grandma, my great-grandma, my great-great-grandma, my great-grandma was only 12 years old, 11, 12 years old. And they were in their teepee in the camp in Cottonwood, and my great-grandpa, Hairpipe, They were among the folks, the men folk that got called. And Cottonwood came back. And he told them, "Igluyan po, Dakawa, Shicha, Ungaki Papik de Galo. Iya po, Wianki Iapio." So she grabbed what she can. And they ran. Not soon after they ran, they were running to gullies. She said they can see people, the women, and pretty soon the gunshots started going. And she came back. And I could go on and tell the story, but like I said, I'm not going to go into details because people tend to steal your stories and keep it as their own. But as they made their way back up here, they came back up here, and there was a man. They had the hard time coming back up here because they know this was home. But when they came back up here, they got shunned. There was a man named Gray Eagle that shot that man, told him, "Kill them. Kill them. They're going to cause trouble amongst us. They're going to cause the government to come and kill all of us." So they came back, and she knew that great-grandpa was dead. And she didn't know about great-grandpa Cottonwood. So they came back up here, and after they met resistance here on their own homeland, they went home. They went back down there because they felt unwelcome back home here in Wokwoju. They felt endangered because Gray Eagle wanted to kill them and whoever else came back. So they got the remainder of their belongings, and they journeyed back to Pine Ridge. And there, she found out that her son, Cottonwood, was wounded and was taken into Pine Ridge Agency. So they found him. They found him. And at the time, there's this old St. John's Church out to Oglala. That was in Pine Ridge. And even then, he passed away. So he's buried in Pine Ridge. But even at that church that shed the bloodshed of our ancestors, even Pine Ridge Agency didn't want it. Put it in Oglala. So it sits in Oglala with us, the lineal descendants. I call us lineal descendants because we have pictures, we have stories, we have trauma, generational trauma. And I have a grandmother, my great-grandmother. Gonna show you a picture. This is her when she was 11, 12 years old. And these two ladies at the bottom are her daughters. And we come from them. Me and my cousins are here. We come from them. And these stories that she told them, the daughters that she had, even then, do not tell your stories. The government will come and hunt you down. The government is going to do something. And so because of retaliation of the government, a lot of our ancestors down in Oglala, we don't speak. We don't talk about it because this is what happened. And today I want to share this story with you guys. because there's some of us down there in Ogallala, not in Pine Ridge, in Ogallala. I always say they put us way down there. Red Cloud Agency probably put us way over there by the end of the reservation line. That way when the government came to hunt us down, they would say, oh, they're all over there. Go get them. You know, that kind of trauma still lives within us. And I just want to share these stories with you guys. So this great grandma here of mine, she told that story. And on December 29th, my grandmothers down here would always tell us, "Kiksuyape, do not change the story and keep the story among the family." So today I want to share that story in this picture with you guys. And I want you guys to know that when we have our people coming up here at these meetings, that's because they're our spokesperson. We chose them. We chose them to be here, to speak for us. It's a long distance coming up. I know you guys know that, going back down there. It's a long drive. So today, I want to say Wopila Tanka to every one of you for listening to us and giving us a time to be here. Oh, Itakuyasi.
Oh, thank you. There's another story there that I hope you guys listen to. Hit you to. Window, Wanayalo. Brother Window was getting mad at me, so.
Yanni, just wanted to greet you all my relatives. You know, just wanted, my name is Wendell Yellowbull. My grandfather is William Horncloud, and his dad was Joseph Horncloud, who's a survivor of Wounded Knee. And a question was brought up about what Joseph's role was during and after December 29th, 1890. Him and Dewey Beard started the process of organizing those that survived 1901. That's where it came with the Wounded Knee Survivors Association. 5 years later, what they did was they erected that monument that sits there today. It was mentioned that there was an older one there. But actually, when everybody came together, it was 1891, after December 29th, when they started, that they were able to come together. And what I wanted to share, and that's what those that are descendants from Oglala, I want to share something my grandfather observed what Joseph did, and I want you to understand that this is how close it is for us, and we do not want to be disenfranchised because of boundaries and tribe affiliation. Joseph, he would walk over and lay down on a long trench grave. William said, I asked him later why he did that, and he said, my mother and father are there. So I'm laying with them. That's what he said. He's laying with them. A lot of arguments presented that we had not done anything or protected it. We have for many years, especially the Oglala descendants, because we were there. As far as I know, and I wanted to share something else. When Sitting Bull surrendered, the Hornclouds were there. Family 359. We came across the border. Just wanted to share that with you. These are the things that we've come to understand with modern day understanding. We are starting to become and declare boundaries. Who belongs to what? I belong to the Mechpia Luta Hikon on my grandfather's side, Horn Cloud. Just like many of you have your own Teoshbai systems that you have come together to recognize. We've all wanted to go back to that system, but we're still struggling with formal. And this is what I wanted, the 4 things I want to talk about. Organizations. Tribal organizations, they represent the tribe. Each and every one of us belong to a tribe based on where we were at the time. And those are the things that we have to understand. If we're going to use them today, then we are tribal members. But today, what we are is descendants of a survivor. You have to acknowledge that. We come here as descendants to take a look at things that I'll be discussing after. Non-profit organizations represent the purpose that they're designed to do. And many of them took that route to represent the Wounded Knee descendants. But that's okay. But you still are a descendant of December 29, 1890, a survivor descendant. The Teoshbai system is what we're trying to do, and this is what happened in Oglala country. We decided that we would do the Teoshbai system. Spotted Owl got theirs together. I moved on, and the Horn Clouds are coming together as a Teoshbai system, and it's a struggle. Because one of the things that is really happening here is the lack of trust. We don't trust each other. I've been accused of $1 million. I still haven't seen that $1 million yet, but apparently I have $1 million somewhere. I'll share it once I get it. All right? And those are the things that go around. We have to admit, we all talk about each other and the way we stand, because that's the way it is. But here today is the time we need to set those aside and really sit down and come across as a cultural, a modern day. We have to make that decision. If we don't, we're going to continue to come back. We've learned really bad habits from the Skawichasha. We have. They call it cunning. They're very cunning, deceptive. They lie, they create, they present political statements, they plant political arguments, they set up things in order, and we're emulating that today. That's what we're doing. We're all educated. I want to share that about education. They told us that we needed to go education to come back and help our people to defend ourselves, not to practice on ourselves. That's what it's for. So we can see clearly the cunning of the Skawichasha and how deceptive they are. That's the purpose of it. And those are the things that we have to take in consideration as we present ourselves today. And remember, one thing I learned in participating in treaty, they call it Lakota politics. And I give you an example of that. An older gentleman one day I was presenting, he brought his nephew over and gave him $50 to test my credibility and character. He had his grandson give me the $50. Before that, he said, this man here is Unshika, has a hard time, and he's struggling, and this was the part of the presentation. So when a young man came, I said, you know, the singers over there struggle each day to come here to sing. So I told him to go give that $50 to them, and that's from me. So he went to go take it over. The guy that was trying to give me the $50 said, hey, wait a minute. Remember, that's my $50 too. That's Lakota politics. Every day we do that. Spirituality has now come into the politic arena. We are here every day. You can practice that. Spirituality has been really a hard thing to understand. We do not trust spirituality anymore. because of all the things that are going on the outside. So we always question that. But there's one thing I've learned over the years with my grandfather: as long as you pray and you believe, it will always help you as an individual. And that's what it's about. The other thing that today I want to talk about is the land issue. We have 40 acres that have been purchased. That's right there at the Wounded Knee. We all have to come together and decide how we're going to clean it up and come together. And that brings up the issue that we need to come together as one to gather and go down there and clean up some of the things that are going down there. No talking about it. Send your grandkids. Get somebody to come and represent your Teoshpae. That's the part we need to understand. We did that long time ago. 1891 is when we all came together long ago, the Descendants, and they had ceremony and they prayed there. They have pictures of it. I think they were glad just to see their relatives that were there and see what went on. They didn't argue about whether the monument was there. They didn't argue about all the things that we're arguing today. They did what needed to do. We are the generation that has to take that responsibility. I decided that I will not get involved in Lakota politics and political issues because one thing that is, it's very addictive. And at one time when I was in tribal government, I really enjoyed it. It was very, I know how to manipulate. I became a bad individual like a Skawichasha. And I hurt my own people. I practiced on them. And it's a sad thing to see when people are struggling each day. Lack of money, lack of resources. So we need to sit down and really think about this. I propose as a solution that to come together, we need to bring Omnichiye to come together as one and start cleaning up that area, take responsibility, and really start settling our foot down on it. One of the things about the artifacts, there's a cultural view and the modern day view. There's one thing that we all have to understand is that they're both sitting there. Can't go away. Those that died there, that belong to them. Those that survived, descendants, like Joseph, those belong to him too, and he was still alive. So we're kind of sitting in between this. Whatever choice that has to be made, we all have to come together. Don't use consensus like a tribal government IRA. That's when you set things and continue it on. Me, it doesn't matter because hopefully I get funded by my tribe to come over with per diem. I don't know. I got that million, which I ain't giving to you guys. Buy me a nice truck and a big house. Live in California and hold sweat. Okay, so what I'm going to think is that we need to decide what we're going to do. Are we going to tell our stories? This is the part that is going to be a double-edged sword. Some of you say we need to provide our testimony to give what took place. I want to share something with you that I wrote from an excerpt from Horncloud's testimony, Joseph. When they filed for compensation, legally, though claimants could not demand retribution for their dead relatives, which was limited by the Act 1891 Act, so that the claimant could only seek compensation for stolen or damaged property. That was the only thing since 1891, the Deprivation Act. Some of you write that down, and you're going to find that everyone else, they called it the Bigfoot disaster. Everyone else got compensated except for the descendants because they were declared hostile. So now I'm greeting all you hostiles this afternoon. That's the reason why you're not getting any money. And we're still arguing whether or not we're going to get it or not. But anyways, I got $1 million. My point to all of this is that one time we're going to have to sit and decide. I know that everyone feels the pain, but we do too. Everyone feels all the anxiety, all the things that are going on. And the Skawi-Chasha really did us wrong in the beginning. Since 1862, 1492, they started taking our land where the water was. That's what there's a lot of the stuff, ranching. So we need to decide, what are we going to make a stand and start to take action? Are we going to, as a museum, that's going to have to come up, and we have to decide. I was already told there are money's already available to build a museum. It's already there. In a prime location that it's going to be, and many, because of that monument that was sitting there, got global awareness. In a business type thinking, that awareness became that everyone in the known world had come to pay respects for those that were killed on December 29th, 1890. In a market strategy, that's what it's about. People are already going to come, regardless of whether or not you can advertise it or not. That's the modern thinking. And that's what we have to take a look at. So when we do that, if we go that way, you're going to have to really serious, because we're going to be fighting over who's going to be the leadership in this. The only leadership that I see is the Wounded Knee descendant of a survivor, because we have the testimony that took place. We just need to sit down. And everyone's testimony is correct. Because why? Because it was so large of a place that things took place that everybody knew what took place at a certain time with their relative who was on a run or who survived. So it's our testimony that has to be presented. So you're going to have to take a look at that. And this is where the artifacts, our personal belongings, come. Are we going to tell our story with them? Are we going to do the cultural, what has been innate for thousands and thousands of years? Are we going to release their spirit? Those decisions fall upon this generation. Right here, all of you that are sitting here, falls upon your shoulders. You have to wrestle with your cultural beliefs or your modern day indoctrination. That's what you're going to have to deal with today. The other part of that is history. You're going to have to take a look at how you're going to do this. You're going to have to prove your lineal descent, that you have a say. Because we put something that you guys didn't understand, we put it in the hands of the federal government. And there's a rule there. It says that you only ones that can discuss issues or do anything, that personal artifacts are personal belongings, it relies on your guys' shoulders. On your shoulders. Each and every one of your Teoshpai, not one group, not tribe, but us individually. We have to make that decision. And so that's going to be the important part. If we don't, I guess we'll be meeting in Rapid City. It's 150 both ways per dime, and hotel. The other part is my last part of this. I've experienced what I've always experienced in the beginning when I first participated in 1984. That's been a long time. I met Sam Eaglestaff, many of the descendants from this long ago down there, meeting. Had a meeting at my grandparents' place. I met with them, sat down with them. They would convey a lot of information as they sat there, but they never really got up. They always talked about some type of reparation to demand redress. My grandfather always talked about Lieutenant Kelly in Vietnam for massacring the Vietnamese civilians. He would always argue that point. We need to seek, at least make a historical statement. That's what we need to be focusing on today. I've been pretty frustrated, but I knew this was going to happen. I explained that to many of these meetings. As we start to come, when all of this started, August 3rd, 2022. And what it came to be was the land. That's how it all started. I wanted to get it out of on my grandmother's people, get it out of their hands, because I already knew what the intent was going to be. One thing I want to acknowledge, all the Teoshpais that are here, all your families. And one of the things that's going to be, as we move along forward, is going to be a struggle, is we need to acknowledge each other. And one of the things that I wanted to share, and I hope I don't get institutionalized for this. Somebody said that Yellow was crazy. Somebody needs to put him in that. Well, I'm close to Yankton, so I don't have to go too far. As I was sitting there, and the hostilities that were taking place there, I was sitting there by myself when everybody left. And one of the things that came to mind was 1891. Prior to that, when everybody was on the run, everybody was changing their names. No one wanted to be known as a descendant or a survivor of Wounded Knee, because they were hiding. And one of the greatest things that was them what to hide was about is because the American soldiers were killing all the witnesses for a tragic killing, murder. That's why they were hunted down, to kill the witnesses. So that's why a lot of them went underground. It wasn't by their choice. It was by their choice to live. That's what it was about. Well, anyways, when I got up there was one thing that came to my mind, and it kind of came at there was really no formal goodbye. We all experience a goodbye when we bury one of our loved ones. We stay up with them for 4 nights or 4 days or 2 days. We pray, we acknowledge them, we speak about them, we do everything in our and then we do the next thing. What belonged to them and what was to be given away. You hear many stories of that. They didn't get a chance to do that. And the other thing about that is that all those that survived, they never came back together again. They never came back. We don't even know who our grandkids, their children, where they come from. We don't. We don't know that. But when we come together here, that's when we know, but we don't come together as a descendant of a survivor. We're coming here as tribal representatives, non-profit organizations. But we should be coming here together as descendants. That's who should really be setting the rules here. So I wanted to let you guys know that. With that, I'm always the one that they don't allow to speak. Wherever I go, when they see me, I wave at them, but they look the other way, so I had to come up and tap Manny on the shoulder and said, hey, next time I get the mic and I'm a facilitator, I'm not going to let any one of you guys talk at all. So anyways, in closing, I want to say, let's come together and let's really discuss this issue. We're really going to have to make decisions, because sometimes it's really hard and difficult. With that, I hope you guys have a great day. I thought we were going to come and talk about bull riding, but that's another story. Oh, Plamia.
We have Chairman LeBeau. Let's you know where I got. And after that is Joe.
Manakapi. You are Chante Washtena Pechi Uzapalo. I'm Chairman LeBeau from Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe, and I'd like to thank you all for coming this nice, beautiful day, joining us here at our Culture Center, our relatives from up north, Hunkpapa and wherever else, Oglalas, Sichangus. I know we all know that drive, and just keep in mind, this is all Lakota treaty lands, so this is all our lands, and we make those travels up here, and I'm glad everyone made it in today for this meeting. We welcome you all to discuss this important matter. And I like coming to these meetings mainly because I feel like I'm doing something for our people, representing our tribe. And growing up, we had Unchi Marcel LeBeau. She lived to be 102, and she would have us come with her to these meetings. And so we like to carry on her tradition in our family that she started, and advocate for the survivors, advocate for justice for our people. And she wasn't a descendant, and she comes from Chief Forebear, Tioshpae, Tukero Band, Lakota. But she advocated a long time, and she was actually the secretary for the association for a while. She worked with the Burdell Blue Arm and all those guys of that generation. So, and she was part of the Hawk 1890 when they started their group. So, again, we'd like to honor her by coming into these meetings, advocating for the descendants and justice for our people. And again, I'm happy to be here with you all. Multitasking today, we have a Great Plains Tribal Chairmen's Association, and I'm on Zoom with them, and here with you now. So all kinds of meetings going on today on a Saturday of all days. But it's good that we have these meetings, and I'm happy that we had one here on Cheyenne River. We're connected. We feel like we're closer connected than anywhere else, because our relatives were here and came through these lands, and these are our homelands for Chief Spotted Elk, among other chiefs in this area, camped along the Cheyenne River. And we have our communities on the west end that have a lot of descendants that come from Chief Bigfoot, Minikoju, Howoju. So I'm glad that we're having this meeting today, and I'm glad Wendell, good to hear him talk, and he says good things, and I'm glad he made it up. And last meeting he said he wanted steak, so in that roaster back there, it's full of bologna, fried bologna. But yeah, I think we kind of had a little disagreement with Oglala regarding the burning the items. We know this is our culture and our way of life to burn or to bury items, and they wanted to do that. So, and we got calls. This was back a couple months ago, and we got calls. Our office got calls from mostly all elders. They're all worried about the burning these items, and some didn't even know about them, that they came back from the museum, and so they wanted to feel like they're consulted. So they said, write a letter and see if you can stop it. Reach out to their president. President Starr comes out. So we did all that. Got on Zoom with them and with Mr. Pruyer, Tahashi, Justin, and Cedric, Broken Nose, and we went over what we wanted to do, and had a good meeting. But at the end of the meeting, they still wanted to proceed with the burning, and we understood. We just had to let them know how we felt here at Cheyenne River. And then later that night, that evening came, and I got calls from President Starr comes out, and he was at the judges' chambers, and I guess there was a restraining order signed. It wasn't signed by the judge. It was submitted by a tribal member from Oglala, and they wanted to stop the burning. And this was the day before, the Memorial Day, 29th. So so the judge says, there's this old agreement between the tribes from the 1990s. Chairman Borland signed it, and I can't remember the other chairmen who were there, but it basically says that any items coming back will be consulted amongst the tribes and the spiritual leaders of what to do with them. So he had that paper, and then he said, you tribes want to work it out, then we won't even do this court order. We won't do the restraining order unless you guys can come to an agreement. So President Starr comes out. He's like, yeah, let's talk. Cheyenne River, let's talk. And so we did, and we kind of about an hour later we said Councilman Brinksplenning. I got him on the call too, and we had a good meeting. And at the end of it, it said that we would wait on the burning and let the people decide. Have these meetings and consult and hear our people out what they want to do with the items, with our relatives' belongings. So that's kind of where we are today. And within that, maybe someone can go over what entails those Wounded Knee items are. I know they had them at the site, and they had them in boxes, and then they laid them out. And there was like shirts, there was chanupas, there was other items that were in there. So I think it's important to know what we're talking about. I know kind of in last meeting up in Standing Rock, no one really said what was all in there. So maybe that's something we need to do today, is make sure we all know what items specifically are that we're talking about. And I know we heard from some elders at our tribal council, and they shared these words that come back from messages from the other side. So it was good to get that direction from our elders, and the timing of it all is really aligns with what we're talking about today. So again, I just want to tell you all I respect all of you, and I appreciate all of you for coming today, and I'm happy we're having this meeting. And as we said at the end of the meeting in Standing Rock, is that we're all one people. We're all the Takini Wayate, and we have to be that. We have to be that together. So hopefully teach up on my relatives. Huh?
I think you guys did something as the Cheyenne River Tribal Council. You're going to be working on establishing an office to, if you can explain it better than I.
Oh yeah, that's right. And then at council the other night, we had a session, and one of the relatives said we should create a Wounded Knee office to kind of keep track of all this, all these issues that come up regarding Wounded Knee. And this one, definitely needs that type of attention, and that type of documentation, and be able to hang on to all the stuff that goes on. I didn't know there was an agreement from the 90s. That was news to me that night. I was on that call with Star comes out. I didn't even know that was there until it came to that. So yeah, so Wounded Knee office. We're open to that, creating that, and maybe all of our tribes should have one to coordinate these efforts together. Mr. Wendell, he just talked about the site, and it does need attention, does need cleanup, and mowing and all that has to happen. Security, those things have to be there. So maybe that's something we can work on going forward as well. All of our tribes have a Wounded Knee offices as part of their administrations.
Second.
Yeah. Okay, we got a motion, but
All in favor?
I've heard some testimony here where the stories have been taken and been put in books. We're learning that on Standing Rock about our language and our intellectual property rights. This is what we get into, and this is what is coming to the front. And what we have, these Washichus want to take it and make money. What are you guys doing with that in Cheyenne River?
Yeah, that's a good question, and we'll have to get a good answer for you on that one. I just kind of off top. I have to kind of dig into that one, I think, and get back to you on it. Any other questions for me?
Just very quickly, Hawk 1890, we try to address all that exploitation that goes on every day, and we do our best to address those, but we'll probably need tribal council's resolution and assistance in that way. So,
Okay, it's time to have a meal, I guess. So we have some more speakers here. Our agent is here. Ooh. So anyway, Justin is here, and Joe is here, and this is a ring. No, just
Justin's here?
Justin is here, yeah. We all got some good speakers here coming up here, and we got to start asking each other questions, I think, because we need to know a few facts that can happen for all of us, so we can kind of go forward and get some things done. So I'll ask some questions at the end of close to the end of the day. Some of you can give me some good feedback and how we can work, get some of these here issues taken care of. So, but anyway, I'll say a prayer with the food here. I was asked to say a prayer, so I just came from a funeral, and I think the lady mentioned her name, Marianne Redhorse. Her funeral is at the Episcopal Church, right, going on right now. And she's going to be buried in Bridger today. So anyway, Hermes asked me to do the services for him, so I got that done this morning. And the Christian burials will be taken over. They'll be taking her back to Bridger. So I said a prayer for her this morning to Morning Star, and then her prayers just a while ago. And so, we lose a lot of our elders and a lot of our language, and the stories are going. So I think that for the office to take off, we want to capture some of those stories before our relatives make their journey. But that's up to you guys. A lot of different copyright things are all involved in stories all the time. So I'm prepared this food here, and it's medicine, and then also we'll have wasna and chiaka that's going to be passed out as spiritual food for all of you. So we usually get a pipe and pray with a pipe and all that, but since the short time that we have here, we want to get everybody acknowledged, and so we just went ahead and do what we can in a short time, 4-hour period, I guess. So anyway, we try to squeeze it all in. We want to give you all some food to quiet down that thunder in your stomach. Cheki ayo heo shimaya yo. Ao, ao, eh, ao, eh, ao, eh, yo, eh, yo. Atrokashla, Tratia topa, Achpio Timaka, Tesawi, Ahitwa, Mushapo, Extewi Chashnakaka, Woka Kijo Kiwani. Nake Omnichiye Kamani, Hina Chet, Woki or Nichila, Wuyukchan was still Kupo, Woy humble was stay Kupo, Hetchet Aku Ita was stay tie nothing. You call an eye chatter, Wanaki, Woy ticket a woy like you. My chatter, walk or kitchen, Nichila. You call an eye chatter, Wotaku Yaki, when I yaki chip, when I Wotaki yinking. You call an eye chatter, yaki chap, Washte loan, I catches a Tokateka, Chan Washtia, Ukicha, Moningte. You call an eye chatter, Woki or Nichila. I can't water with the yanking. Not talk of a conky, and I hate to knock up whoop with a kinicha. Na catches a petuk that talk with chenich or chetuk. Wakana what kinds of, when we choni I used them, water or githaki, or githak kabiap, or chicken with chunks. I bet took their glusters and walking. Oh, me talk you was. Oh, okay. It's got to be a kind of working lunch here, so I think the next speaker. Oh.
When you guys having a drawing for the drum?
Oh yeah, we'll have a drawing for this drum here later on at 6 o'clock this evening. Okay. There's going to be some elder speakers. I think we got what's the Melda Guerrero here also that wants to say a few words after Joe and the rest of them.
Kaya Trokata Yahipi, and not Trokia Ilalakte. The guests will go eat first. Right now. Just kidding. Oh, yeah, po, wana. Dona Yahipi Hechi, and now Ilalakte. Hakini Oyate, Wanakunka po, ya po, Wota. And now, Hechitu.
Okay, still used to be a lying boy, most of you forward. Because they already passed out your son. Okay, it looks like we only got one more hour left, you know. One more hour to come doing a solutions.
Maybe they can go over.
So, Steve, you want to say a few words? Well, you guys are waiting. Steve Vance, he's our Cultural Preservation Officer for Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe. Just share a few words while you guys are eating.